Hi and welcome to another repair video from FobFix.com. Today we're going to be repairing a common 2-button Corsa key fob. Other Vauxhalls use this type of key fob, but the casings generally wear through and the rubbers break off, the buttons inside break off. So we're just going to be turning that around and making it look like new. You'll need a few simple tools to do this repair. A flat blade screwdriver, a pair of tweezers helps to put the buttons on when we're soldering so you don't burn your fingers, nice and simple. And you'll need the kit from FobFix.com, which includes a new casing, a set of switches, 2 small surface mount switches, and a CR2032 coin cell battery. You'll also need a decent soldering iron with a smallish tip and some solder. Right, Corsa key fob, nice and simple. Turn it over. On the back there's a small recess, so we just get the flat blade screwdriver, pop it in and gently pry. You'll separate the remote part from the key head. We just pull it apart there. We just pull that. The key head contains a transponder, so if you do pop it apart, make sure you keep that safe, because that's what turns the immobiliser off when you turn the key in the ignition. This is a remote part. There's one single clip on one side, 2 clips on the other. You can pry them apart quite simply with a flat blade screwdriver. Just pop that open like that and pull it apart into the 2 halves. The back half contains a battery. Now I'll just move this out of the way because what I'll show you is the kit actually does contain a casing which has the battery terminals in it. You'll be able to see those, I'll just point them out. Now on some fobs that have been opened previously, the 2 little tangs that are on this battery tab there can be broken off, so the kit caters for that one, so you can swap the back half if required. A lot of the times, I'll just pop this to one side, a lot of the times the back half is perfectly serviceable and the tangs are in place, so we don't need to worry about that one. We'll reuse that one for now. Put that one there. Now it's quite simple, just pop the PCB out of this half of the case. You can use any sharp implement to pry it out. You see that half of the case is pretty much destroyed, so we'll get rid of that one. Flip this board over. Now you can see the 2 switches that we're going to be replacing. That one's still intact and does actually work. This one, the top half's dropped off it, so it would need replacing anyway. On ones where the switches are fully intact, you can just swap the casing, but I always like to replace these anyway with the switches that come in the kit, because they're a lot harder wearing, and it stops you halfway down the line. Your switches are going to fail anyway, so we'll get those swapped out. Now take your soldering iron and just gently lever these off. If you apply heat to one side, you can just lift them this side and this side, spin it around so we don't destroy any of the traces, or you can just flick them off. Be careful you don't drag solder across the circuit board. Obviously the small surface mount components on there won't take too well to having solder dragged across and shorted across them. If we have a quick look on the board, now I'll try and I would zoom in now, but my autofocus would just kick off, so I'll just point to it anyway. On the circuit board, when you have fobs where you've replaced the buttons and they still don't work, there's a common fault with one of these components, and it's a little surface mount coil. It's this small brown component there. I have not measured it out on an LC meter, so I couldn't tell you the value of it, but I know if you've put your fob all back together, battery's working fine, that doesn't seem to work, that's definitely a suspect component, so watch out for that one. You can scavenge them from spare fobs if required, but that's definitely one to look out for. What we'll just do for now is we'll apply a little bit of solder on the pads here. I'll apply an amount on this pad to hold the buttons down when we solder them on, and I'll just flatten these 2 pads here and here. Just make sure they're okay. Now I will get switches. Drop these here, these usually end up running away from it. There we go. Oh, managed to look out this time. Just get each one of these switches, and again, helps not burning our fingers here. Apply that one so it just holds with the solder. We can always reposition these quite simply once they're actually in place. This one's a bit easier because it doesn't have any components around it. Happy with that one. I'll just reposition this one. There we go. Shift it about a little bit. There we go. Oh, fireworks going off close to bonfire night. I'll just solder the other sides on here as well. A little blob of solder on there. Again, always being careful not to bridge your solder across to any of the components nearby. Just be careful there. Solder out of the way. Now we're going to use the front of the original, the new front and the original back half. A lot of people like to reuse the back halves because they have a manufacturer's logo on this. On this one it doesn't, it just has the manufacturer of the fob itself, which is Siemens. Tells you the frequency at 433 megahertz and the model number of it, but yeah, we'll just keep that intact anyway. The circuit board sits where the two little recesses on the board are either side, just sits like that into those two little rubbers, and it just plops in place. Now there's a single clip on one side, two on the other. They match up to the single recess and the double on the other. So if we just drop it gently onto there, you can hear a little click. Now you don't really need to be too worried that these don't hold all that well, because when it slides into the key head as such, it will lock it in place. And there's a small recess here which matches up to where the transponder is in the horseshoe key head. So that'll slide into there, push it in with a click. And there we go. And now the little squawk box that I have over to one side will hear that if it was working. It's probably paused for a second. I'll just try and get that. There we go. No, it's just a little bit out of range. Let me. No. Let's have a little listen. There we go. I don't know. Never works when you want it to. There we go. And that's it. Another repair from FobFix.com. Thanks for watching.